The Golfe du Morbihan is situated on the south coast of Brittany and protects this region from the strong currents of the Atlantic Ocean. A fascinating coastal landscape with huge castles and extensive sand dunes. From Port-Louis, our journey takes us across one of the most beautiful regions of France. The French king, Louis XIII, and Cardinal Richelieu were responsible for the creation of this fortress in what was once a fishing village. Influential and wealthy ship owners settled here. They ran the East India Trading Company that earned high taxes for the French monarchy. The present-day harbour makes it difficult to believe that this was once a busy centre of trade with the distant Orient. But the town's well-preserved buildings indicate its former wealth, and ferryboats travel to the village on the opposite side of the Lorient that still boast a splendid array of huge warehouses. The king had a citadel built at the entrance to the harbour as a defence against would-be attackers, and thus the harbour was named Port-Louis in his honour. At low tide, the local seafood is an important source of income for the fishermen. The work is long and arduous. However, it provides a good additional income as the coastal areas have been overfished. The megaliths of Carnac still fascinate today. Stone relics that are thousands of years old and date back to the middle of the Neolithic Period. Although they've been analysed by scientists, they're nonetheless full of mystique. Four long avenues of mighty stone, known as alignements, extend across 8 kilometres of scenic terrain. Over the years, these mighty monuments were repeatedly exploited by local farmers. The menhir served as convenient construction material for their farm buildings. The stones will probably never reveal all their secrets. However, many historians and archaeologists believe that they were linked to some kind of religious belief. Although in stark contrast to the lush green fields, the granite rocks blend in well with their surroundings. Some further rocks are thought to have been graves. It's thought that they stood guard over the dead. This place of the dead originally covered several hills and valleys. The several kilometre-long megalithic streets of Le Menec have been extremely well preserved. Here, entire fields are covered with several rows of majestic menhir. When Christianity was introduced to this region, heathen rituals gradually disappeared. The long-dead leaders of prehistoric times had already been forgotten. The discovery of these ancient stone treasures has brought new life to this part of Brittany. Unfortunately, however, the growing popularity of the menhir has taken its toll on these ancient stones. Today, only sheep are allowed to wander near them. The area around Carnac also contains numerous intriguing dolmens, a series of vertical stones that support a large slab, a kind of stone table. But why were the stones arranged in this way? For several centuries, the tranquil and mysterious atmosphere of this place has fascinated all those who have experienced it. Masterpieces of prehistoric architecture, grand monuments that have survived time itself. The seaside village of Rivière is located at the end of a peninsula at the entrance to the Golfe Du Morbihan, where a number of further huge menhirs were discovered. The sea sparkles enchantingly on this section of the coast. Several boats lie at anchor in the tranquil confines of the bay. The Golfe du Marbihan is 20 kilometres wide and covers an area of 12,000 hectares. In addition to tourism, oysters are also important for the region's economy. The region has Gallic-Roman associations due to the fact that in 56 BC Julius Caesar defeated his last Breton enemies here, the Venetians. Today, there's no further hostility here, only a cordial atmosphere, with sandy beaches, picturesque fishing villages, sheltered harbours, and medieval cities. Mudflats, marshland and a mild climate attract many kinds of birds, and even the local fishermen can enjoy the tranquility of the region while tending to their nets. The beauty of the colourful landscape and tranquil sandy beaches has made this region a popular destination. The enchanting medieval city of Auray is situated on a bend of the Rivière that flows into the Golfe du Morbihan. The city has earned its place in the history books of Brittany. Here, two families once fought to rule this land, and a battle decided which one. In 1364, along with his British allies, Jean de Montfort defeated Charles de Blois in a battle for the succession of the Duchy of Brittany. An old stone bridge leads across the Auray to the harbour district of Saint-Goustin that evokes a strong feeling of bygone times. Today, Several leisure boats lie at anchor in the small harbour that was once only used by fishermen and local traders. Steep lanes lead up a hill, flanked by picturesque timber-framed buildings. The facades of the houses indicate the wealth of their former owners and have been extremely well restored. The Saint-Gildard church, that dates back to the 17th century, is the centre of the upper part of the city. A well-preserved stone Renaissance portal dominates the sacred medieval building. In 1657, a stonemason from Laval created this stunning Baroque altarpiece and also a pulpit with the carved image of a saint, typical flamboyant church decor of the period. These model ships were typical of those built during the Catholic Counter-Reformation. This was a direct response to the somewhat austere requirements of the Protestants. The town is now a popular holiday resort. A small sightseeing train travels through the old lanes and romantic harbour district. The quay was named after the American diplomat and statesman Benjamin Franklin, who landed here during the American War of Independence. In December 1776, he was travelling in this region when settling a peace treaty between France and England. The promenade provides a good view of the idyllic river and picturesque harbour district. No hint here of the historic hustle and bustle of earlier times. Vannes, capital of the département Morbihan on the French Atlantic coast, a place known for its splendid parks. But its mighty walls contain an architectural gem. And even from the outside, this charming small town is a wonderful sight. The name Vannes probably dates back to the time of the ancient Venetians who once settled in the region. Here there are numerous splendid locations to relax and enjoy the surrounding countryside. The old washhouses and their medieval motifs are particularly fascinating. The Vieux-Lavois are situated on the riverbank. They're a remnant of a long forgotten and bygone time. Today, their beautiful floral decorations mask the reality and hardship of daily life as it was then. But in the 10th century, the town was burned to the ground by the Normans. The young kingdom, united by Nomino, was completely destroyed. The magnificent half-timbered buildings of the historic part of the town are more recent. However, in 1532 Vannes once again became the focus of attention. For it was here that the Dukedom of Brittany was officially united with France. Half-timbered houses that date back to the 15th and 17th centuries form the medieval centre of Vannes. Several charming facades lie closely packed together. A fascinating historic setting. These fine old buildings are an important part of the new town's economy. In recent years, they have attracted hordes of tourists from all around the world. Religion, too, is also a focal point. The Cathédrale Saint-Pierre towers above the historic rooftops of this fine old town. The entrance to the northern nave leads into the church's generously decorated interior, most of which was built in the 15th century. The church also contains the remains of a famous clergyman, Holy Vincent Ferrier, a Dominican monk who was known for his miraculous powers of healing. For many centuries, this medieval town has been at the political heart of Brittany. However, today the town's former parliamentarians have been replaced by tourists. This former trading port is now full of leisure boats. But little else has changed in this beautiful town. The huge bay originated 9,000 years ago when the sea level was raised by around 100 meters due to a warming of the earth. The newly elevated sea gradually created hundreds of islands. According to legend, there were once 365 of them, one for each day of the year. The attractive charm of the Brittany landscape owes much of its allure to its picturesque old stone houses and the idyllic bays with their colourful sailing boats. Unoccupied for many years, even the old mill houses on the seashore are open to the public. Here, the seabed is uneven, especially around Port-Nevallo, where there are valleys up to 30 meters deep. Port-Nevallo, at the western end of the Rivière Peninsula, stands guard over the kilometre-wide passage that leads to the open sea. Here, the various tides contain powerful currents that constantly create huge movements of water in the Atlantic. This area is therefore ideal for maritime plant and sea life, and the fauna and flora provide a good source of food for the region's bird life. There's always a strong Atlantic breeze on this part of the coast, a fact much appreciated by the local yachting fraternity. This section of the coast also contains more lighthouses than anywhere else in France. The rocky coastline has always been highly dangerous, with sharp reefs, small islands, and unpredictable currents. But this isolated yet blossoming landscape and dramatic scenery have inspired many an artist. This rocky section of the coast is now popular with visitors who not only come here for the views, but also for a little adventure. Due to the Gulf Stream, the region enjoys a mild climate, and this, added to the abundant vegetation, makes it more akin to the Mediterranean than the Atlantic. The Golfe du Morbihan consists of two areas, an eastern section that is calm, almost like a lagoon, and a western part with a rocky coastline and strong currents. On the surface, the water appears to be harmless. However, beneath it, there are extremely treacherous currents caused by sandbanks and ever-changing tides. Because of the tides, every 6 hours, gigantic masses of water squeeze back and forth through the narrow passage into the open sea. In the undertow that follows, the inland water is flushed out so strongly that it cannot fill up with sand. On the edge of the Ruiz Peninsula, close to the shoreline, is the Chateau de Suscinio. It was first a hunting lodge and then a fortress. The castle was once encircled by a moat and dates back to the 13th century. It was once the favourite summer residence of the Dukes of Brittany. During the French Revolution, the castle was badly damaged, but 6 towers have survived. Among them, the Tour Neuve that dates back to the 15th century. The Chateau de Suscinio was once located directly on the shore, but the land has since shifted and marshland now separates it from the sea. The rural character of this region and its simple stone houses and flower-filled gardens has tempted many city dwellers to have their summer homes built here. The south coast of Brittany captivates with its magnificent sandy beaches, mild climate, picturesque harbour towns and idyllic villages. Fascinating dune landscapes shine out in the sunlight and create even more of a marvellous enigma in this colourful and historic region. The Golfe du Morbihan, with its numerous islands, both large and small, is a world unto itself. A French paradise set along the rugged Atlantic coast.